It was in 2002, May that year, that Gary and Marilyn Skinner came with the Watoto Children's Choir for the first time to the People's Church. And we were so excited by that evening that at the end of the meeting, I spontaneously said to the congregation, let's take up an offering and see if we can build one of the houses that we'd heard about that were needed for the children in the Watoto villages. And the offering that came in was more than double the cost of one house. So we said, let's build two houses. Not only that, let's send a team to do the building. And in January 2003, we sent a team and built the first two homes in Subi village. There's now 180 houses here. But that began a relationship with Watoto that has gone on all these years since. We're coming to you again with an exciting program from this country of Uganda in East Africa. You're going to meet some people who have discovered the life-changing power of God in their lives and the way in which God is using them to have impact on many other people. And it all begins in this small village here in Africa. The second project we did was that we came and talked about the need for a high school, put it on air, and asked our viewers to help support the building of a high school. And out of that, we were able to raise the money to build the high school here in Subi village.
I had actually gotten comfortable looking after AIDS orphans. I knew how much food they needed in a week to survive. I knew how to put an educational program together so they could be trained to be future leaders. I even knew how to train a Watoto Children's Choir and send them around the world. But it's dangerous when you get comfortable. You can actually fall asleep to greater need, and I felt God whisper to me, sweetie, don't get too comfortable. I've got something else I want you to do. I want you to begin to restore dignity to Uganda's most vulnerable women.
The typical life of a Ugandan woman is a tough one because it's characterized by subordination. Yeah? A typical Ugandan woman is illiterate. They are married off young, and that means unwanted pregnancies. They've got all these children, and many times they're abandoned by the fathers of these children. And so this lady has got to fend for herself and for her children.
The idea of a bright tomorrow seems like a forgotten shadow. I still think about my son. I wonder if he would love his sisters, if he would draw on their backs with his finger and they would guess what he drew. I wonder if he would help them not feel afraid. I wonder if he could love me.
Hey, you little stupid, waiting at the door doing nothing, eh? Look at,
I'm fed up with you.
fed up with you doing what? Eh? Look at you, eh? I'm going to Look at you.
Many of the women we have today would rather stick in abusive relationships because of poor or low self-esteem. You know, they lack the confidence to walk away. Some fear that they will not be able to support their families or their children. Yeah, because men are seen as, you know, the financial, controllers or supporters. These are people who have been exposed to danger, you know. They've been exposed to hurt out there, and they feel unloved. They lack a sense of worth. Yeah, they don't feel valued. And these are the kind of women who are on our program today.
Many people say, we know what Watoto is, but what is Living Hope? It's about embracing the women who, through no fault of their own, have contracted HIV, have no way of supporting themselves, and are going to die and leave their children orphans unless we do something about it. And I started talking to myself, and I'm like, Mare, you have been giving all of your energy to rescue orphans. Now you have over 3,000 HIV-positive women who are in your care. They represent over 15,000 children. If you could just give them the medicine to stay alive, they wouldn't have to die, and you wouldn't have to look after orphans anymore. But you know, I realized that these women actually didn't need my pity or my sympathy. They didn't need a handout, because there's no dignity in a handout. They actually needed a hand up. So we began to empower them with life skills.
Like tailoring, so that these ladies can do something with their lives. And today they are able to earn an income and look after their children. And we provide comprehensive HIV and AIDS care through counseling and psychosocial support.
I had 1,000 women, and they couldn't read and write their own names. So we taught them how to read, we taught them how to write, we taught them how to manage a small business, we taught them how to make things with their hands, we taught them how to sew, how to make dolls, how to make table runners. So we began taking out with the Watoto Children's Choirs all these things that these formerly vulnerable women have made, but today they're dignified women, selling them all around the world. And then I remembered everybody eats peanut butter in Uganda. So we started making peanut butter. And then we started harvesting honey. And then we started making shea butter. And I really believe that this Living Hope model, it is going to become a model not just for Uganda, but for all of Africa, because there are literally millions of women who have been left to bear the brunt of this continent's challenge. Why are we doing all of these things? So that we can totally and completely let these women know that there are no boundaries to God's greatness, that they can dream again, that they too can live a life of dignity. And these women who yesterday thought they were nothing, today have become successful businesswomen and pillars of influence in their community, because Jesus makes somebody out of nobody, and Jesus makes something out of nothing.
You traded my son for hurt, guilt, and shame. At times, I thought it was going to crush me. I'm learning about a God who loves me, a God who sent his son to die for me. This God forgives. He forgives the men who raped me, the men who beat me, and he even forgives me. I'm learning to forgive all those who caused me pain. And the miracle of all, I'm learning to forgive myself. I don't know what the future holds, but at least I know there's hope.
My name is Akela Mildred.
Jennifer Amoy. Kolaloy Vicky.
My story is similar with the one of Ruth.
My uncle raped me. I was abducted in 1996.
I'm HIV positive.
At that time, I was 14 years old.
The in-laws of my husband, they chased me away with my children.
My mom rejected me.
Then later I came and joined Living Hope program.
In Living Hope, I went through different classes.
I already forgive for my uncle.
I learned how to forgive. Right now, I forgive my mom.
I want to buy a land and I want to build my own house.
And I want to pay my children in school up to university. Later on, I want to marry.
In future, I want to have my own land, whereby no one can chase me with my children. Thank you.
Watoto did not get to where it is today by itself. Watoto did not get to where it is today because of Gary and Marilyn Skinner. Watoto is where it is today to the glory of God, but because of an army of someones all around the world who have said, Gary and Marilyn, we believe in what God is doing through you in Uganda.
About 10 years ago, I met Gary and Marilyn. That connection there really impacted me personally, to where it affected our ministry, and therefore it impacted our church in a great way. And so then we started to put teams together, and we would help build a classroom, we would help build a home. So then these teams, they would come back and say, wow, look what let me tell you what I saw or experienced. And so it just kind of spread through the church, that kind of excitement.
I am a salon owner. I employ today about 30 hairstylists. When I first came, I came for the building, strictly. You know, and when I got into it, I actually came and it just changed my life. Now we're here trying to help in a bigger way.
The vision of Watoto is changing the nation. It really is. And I applaud everything they're doing. I wholeheartedly, speak of them wherever I go and say, if you want to see a program that's not just about helping but about restoring, you need to go and see what they're doing.
We're not your typical doctor. We're not your typical, school teacher. We're not your typical
Churchgoer.
Churchgoer, yeah.
When I just see the heart of Gary and Marilyn and them really intentionally reaching out for the forgotten and those who have been wounded, psychologically and physically and that sort of thing, to take and give so much life to them and speak so much life into their lives, and to see what it's done, worldwide, the impact of Watoto.
The call of Jesus is so strong toward the orphan and the widow that everybody should be asking that question, what is it that I can do?
We helped build a baby's home with Watoto, and we're so proud of that home and so happy to be able to reach the little babies. And so we're really proud to partner with Watoto, and we plan to continue for however long God wants us to do that, and I'm sure that will be a long, long time.